and you can see my full presentation.
Yes, I saw about 4 slides of it in 3 seconds.
Yes, I just needed to get to the start again. Thank you, Rolf. And hello, everyone. Congratulations to the anniversary, 25 years. I remember, well, actually, I don't remember the first time I joined the NoVUG event, but I attended several. And the one that stays in my memory is the boat ride from Oslo to Germany and back on the weekend, which was an interesting experience for me. That one definitely will stay with me for a long time. So over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to take you through the forward-looking position of where we are heading with SMAX, and this is not only SMAX that I'm going to talk about, but as the title also said, Foundation for the Future. A lot of what I'm telling you is based on SMAX as a foundation, as a platform, right? We're calling it SMAX, and we're sometimes also calling it as Enterprise Service Management, ESM. So this is now on how you position it, but what it is all about is the execution of the processes of enterprise service management. And you need a service management solution to be able to deliver enterprise service management processes and procedures. And that's why we're talking about SMAX, and that's where SMAX is placed as the service management solution in that space. It is a roadmap presentation. So there is, I'm doing a forward-looking positioning of what we're doing. There's no guarantee that the timeline, but there is no timeline in the slides, so I'm not giving you dates. But as with any roadmap, this is on the confidential disclaimer, and there's no guarantee that we're going to deliver it the way we present it, because it is a roadmap. But it will give you an direction, and it will give you a view into what we're working on already actively now, and what we're looking into doing going forward. Timeline, time horizon is 1 to max 3 years. I'm focusing rather on the 1 year timeline in the presentation today. So going up into the vision, why are we doing this? What are we doing? Why is this a foundation? So we are driving the vision of delivering a solution platform that supports the IT for IT backbone that we've now heard several times, and just before from Lars as well, to deliver a service lifecycle management solution in the space of enterprise service management that is native cloud supportive, and it is running on a multi-tenant architecture that allows you to scale and to run at a lower TCO. Managee is a good example that is doing this. Some of you know this. We've heard examples today as well from the consumption of those services. I really like the statement from Möller saying we went live and didn't have any issues since we went live. We want that with the other solutions as well. Yes, exactly. That's what we're driving for. That's what we're striving. That's how it's supposed to be. So when we're looking at how we are driving that vision, we're now looking into this in the aspects of delivering a unified user experience for that enterprise service management piece. That's the top layer of the graphic on the right-hand side. This is counting for the end user, for the consumer through the unified portal. You have seen this already now with SMAX, that ease of use and the intuitiveness of the portal in regards to that user experience. But this also counts for the agents, for the administrators, for the techies that work under the hood. We want to give that across the board, that unified user experience comes across for the whole solution of enterprise service management, for the portfolio that Jacques has talked about in the beginning of today. Now, how do we deliver and how do we drive that unified user experience? We're looking at that with what we call end-to-end use cases. They're hung up to the value streams that you heard Lars reference. Of course, here in this space, they're a little bit more granular and more focused onto the areas of, for example, and what you see here in the sub-bullets are examples of what we're focusing on, what we think has a priority at the time being, but they're not restricted to this. We're doing more than just this, but they're just to highlight a few of those use cases that drive that end-to-end user experience in the space of software asset management. In the area of orchestration, RPA, I'm sure you're aware of that Rolf is a good representation of the RPA combination with SMAX, of helping businesses driving automation and helping businesses driving the process automation. Then we're looking into expanding and delivering more on the front of what you could call FinOps, that's financial management in the space of service management. I'll come back to that at a later slide a little bit. And then last but not least, to close off the ESM frame as we see it, is the cloud management space, where we're combining the power of hybrid cloud management, or HCM or HCMX, with service management, which is in our case SMAX. And all of that is founded or is built on the technology layer that we have, or the foundation that we have in our item platform, as you might have heard it before, from a naming perspective, giving you the freedom of choice in regards to your deployment and in regards to your architecture, where you can then choose through the flexibility and through your environment's demands how you want to run that solution, where you can do shift and lifts, you can move around from on-premise to cloud, because it's all based on container technology and statements. You've heard us say deploy anywhere, anytime, which allows us to do this because it's running on the container technology of Kubernetes. So looking a little bit more into that blue layer, maybe a little bit too much techy, I'm not going to spend too much time on this slide. But if you want to have more deep dive in regards to this, please do reach out to Rolf and we can set up some follow-up. We've been talking about the upper layer, the experience, that's top of this graphic, where it says ITSM, AM for asset management, ESM is the enterprise service management, non-IT services as it stands for here. CMP stands for Cloud Management Platform, and then RPA for the Robotic Process Automation. These are all the offerings that we have at Micro Focus that you as a customer can choose what you want to use and what you have need for to run your management solution. All of that is running on that blue technology layer that you've seen before, that is now structured out into 3 layers, with those shared service elements like IDM as an identity management, or Active Directory integration, or email services. These are all those underlying shared services. It's connected to a common data model. So you have the CMS, or the UCMDB as product name from our side, where you have your transactional data. And then we are looking into expanding towards the analytical data model, which is quite often called from our side as COSO, collect once, store once, which is an approach and a principle we have for the analytical data model, which is common across the board from our products. And then all of that running on that flexible containerized shared technology, which is based on Kubernetes, as already mentioned. So this allows us to deliver this foundation to drive those use cases and that flexibility of consumption towards your management solution. So how does that look like more from a product and from a functionality perspective? These are the aspects, and you have seen those slides before from our presentations when we give you an overview of what our products do. We have some print screens on here from a product. I'm not going to go into the details of the product screens itself, but you see a few elements of everything I've just talked about. What you see in the upper left-hand corner is the structure of how we are delivering those functionalities and those capabilities of automation, the codeless configuration that Jacques mentioned in the beginning as well, combined with CMS, CMDB, and discovery, and the process orchestration for the RPA OO automation. All of that has a machine learning and analytics engine built in. So you have AI built in, machine learning built in, and not bolted on. So it's unlimited use of machine learning and analytics to deliver those capabilities, which is in the upper layer of service management, of asset management, of cloud management, and enterprise service management. So that was the summary. So let's look at a bit of a scene shift towards the roadmap and the strategic areas and themes that we're looking into. I'm going to keep it at this level and talk you through the bullets, and then I'm going to close off the time today with giving you a bit of a sneak preview or a sneak peek of some of the newest changes that we have in some of those bullets, just so you can see where we're heading. So looking at the themes, the way we work in our organization with those themes and those lines that you see here with the different colors represented, they're also representing the areas of what we're focusing on. All of this is that foundation platform of enterprise service management based on SMAX. SMAX as the engine, but it delivers more than just service management. As you can see on the left-hand side, it also delivers asset, cloud, and mobile. The only thing that is not specifically highlighted here is the configuration management, but that is intrinsic to almost all of what we do on here. You need the CMDB to be able to execute those processes to start with. So that's not a specific theme on this slide, but you can take it as a given and inside what's already here. As one explanation, the second element is that we've already delivered the connection of the UCMDB with SMAX, with the statement of native SACM, native configuration management, as we call it, from a feature perspective. That's been delivered during 2020. So it's not going to be highlighted here as a strategic roadmap because it already exists. So going to the top level, to the top layer, service management, we are focusing on dashboards and reporting as one of the next focus areas. What this really encompasses is that we're going to allow you to have multiple dashboards. That then allows administrators to create dashboards and assign them to user, but also have dashboards that you can say that this specific group sees those dashboards. So it's similar to views as you already know them. We're going to enable that concept. It's not exactly the same way because the structure is different, but the experience is similar. So you can create dashboards that you expose to dedicated groups or users or the whole user base of the solution. This is agent-oriented. So you need to have a license to access SMAX to see those dashboards, but then you can have dedicated dashboards or multiple dashboards. So you could create a dashboard that represents the incident view, but you could have a dashboard that just represents the asset management view to the same agent, the same user, and you switch the views of those dashboards. Then we're going to focus on service level management. There's 3 areas in the service level management space that have been in the wish list of our install base for some time now. One of them is what is called metadata-driven time zones and work schedules, meaning that you today in the SLM module, you can set a time zone, but you cannot set a time zone that is dynamic to the requester. Example, if there's an employee in Germany reporting a ticket, you want to choose the time zone of Germany for the SLA and not the time zone of the US. So when the second scenario of a user reporting the same problem, but he is based in the US, you want to choose a US time zone for that employee and not just a generic one. Today, that is not possible. You're defining your SLA to the time zone, so it's not dynamically choosing it. We would like to expand on that so you can have more flexibility to the configuration of SLAs. Second area in regards to service level management is the expanding the configurability of service level targets on the request module and the incident module, so you can do more. So you can do more specific configurations that you as a customer want to do. So custom statuses as an example that you want to include those. That's expanding that configurability. And then the third area in that space is to expand the module of service level management to the other process areas of change, problem, and especially tasks. So these are the 3 areas that we're looking into in regards to SLM. When we look at smart virtual agent, which is quite often also referred to as SMAX, when we present it from Micro Focus perspective, it's a virtual agent that uses machine learning and AI and intent-based, similar to what you know from Siri or Alexa or Google, that you have inside SMAX. So we can take the content and the context of SMAX and act as a virtual agent with that context automatically. So you don't have to build those intents manually. You can automate them because we're connecting our virtual agent towards the machine learning engine that we have inside SMAX. In there, we want to expand more towards multiple language supports on the agent, so that virtual agent can handle languages in the same spot, right? It can already support languages today, but not at the same point in time. So I cannot talk to the virtual agent in German and the second sentence is in English. It will not figure that one out. You need to configure the system to a single language at this point in time. So we want to look at that and expanding that. Then we want to do things like date conversions to handle that a bit better. And we want to expand the capabilities in regards to the intent handling. We already have an automatic learning of those intents, but we want to improve that. And then the last bullet on the first line, the modeling UI is in the SACM space, that we want to have the possibility of modeling service models directly inside SMAX, so you do not have to move over to the CMS solution. They're already very tightly connected. That's why it's called native SACM. We want to expand on that. In regards to the asset management line, a big part of asset management, just to take this up front, is the software license management content. So the vendors we have pre-configured reconciliation rules available to be able to represent the licenses properly in a software asset management module. We're heavily focusing on that. That's a big topic, especially for FY21 as well, as in for this year. That's bullet number 3 here on this line. Then we are expanding on the more hardware asset management oriented side towards the use of the mobile barcode scanning and scanning, for example, printers when you walk around for field services to get the CI up and get CI information from a barcode as an example. We want to expand on that. A little bit further out, we want to improve the batch management handling that we have. And then to close that off, which is the first bullet on this line, is some of you might already know, but we're looking into an AMX offering, as in meaning a SKU, a license, a specific license for asset management. We're calling it AMX at this point in time, which is a specific license based on SMAX, where you do asset management on SMAX instead of using the classical asset management product, which still exists today as well and will continue to exist. Then on cloud management, you've heard of this before. I've presented to you guys before about HCMX, which is hybrid cloud management. It's all about improving and automating the service fulfillment, further automating the service fulfillment in using the content that already exists on the side of hybrid cloud management to get that connected together to service management, so you can do an end-to-end fulfillment. We already have things where a simple, if we're taking very simplistic, and say you want to do a virtual machine in AWS and use an EC2 image, that is fully automated. Right, you model it once, you take the out-of-the-box context, you connect towards your places in AWS, you aggregate it into the catalog of SMAX and expose it to the user, but the fulfillment, when a user, consumer, requests that cloud offering, it just goes through and fully automated, fulfilled. Right, and then we're expanding to cost governance, which is where that FinOps element that I told you in the beginning. We're looking into doing this on SaaS and offering this on SaaS, on Micro Focus SaaS, which is the last bullet. On mobile, I'll show you the print screens, and that's the sneak preview that I've referenced before. I'll show you that there instead of taking it through here, but we are, as a high-level statement at this point, we're expanding on the mobile front to go towards an agent mobile client, which is already in early access at the moment on the iOS client. Where we allow you to do field service management, to do a landing page for agents on mobile. We're looking at a unified case queue, which is also of relevance for the normal full-blown SMAX agent, as in the web interface of SMAX will also benefit from that unified case queue. And then further down the line, we're looking into having studio apps that can be consumed through mobile as well. And then at the bottom line, the configuration and automation, we're expanding, and we already done a first step here in the February release that applies backwards to the November release last year. As an example, it is also doable there. We can already start to do notification towards MS Teams, but we want to do that more native towards SMAX. So that's the aspects of the MS Teams integrations. We're going to support Red Hat OpenShift, so you can run your clusters if you want to have them on-premise on a Red Hat OpenShift cluster. We want to expand on our global search configurability, meaning our machine learning and our AI engine that uses the indexing of idle. That's the engine that is doing this. We want to expand on that in making the configurability of that global search a bit better and more granular for you as admins. And then we are working on improving a case exchange framework. So that was a very high-level overview of the strategic direction and roadmaps. Now to the sneak preview. It's a few print screens. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's more that you see a bit of eye candy of what you have. I took those out of a view of a presentation of what we're working on. As mentioned, we're in early access on the agent mobile for iOS. These are some of the print screens that you see of the work that is ongoing, as in a clean and slick view of how you handle those. You have to swipe the typical activities that you have on a mobile with swipe actions and scrolling and then sliding in and buttons, all that stuff, as you expect it from a mobile app. You've of course not seeing that here on this screen, but you see a few print screens of what we've worked on. When you're looking, the next step is we want to expand on 360 person view, so you get more context. What you see also here is a few aspects, like for example the map integration that you see at the bottom left hand side, so we can benefit of the elements that a mobile gives you with that native integration to the mobile location services, as an example for the map. So we're definitely looking at that in leveraging that as well. That's not the first version, but that's in the works. And then when we look at the portal, a lot of you have asked for this, that you can edit or handle the sizing of the tiles on the portal. This here is a view of the new version that is in the works at the moment for a possibility of handling your size of your tiles on the portal. These once again are print screens of that new UI as an example. And then the next one a little bit further out from a timeline, and this is probably end of the year or after, with a landing page, a future configurable landing page that then can become and be managed by you as an owner or an administrator of the solution, where you can put in other stuff, right? Links to Google is very simple, but it could be other elements that you could reference through widgets or applets or widgets to other places. So these are just a few sneak previews, pictures of what we're working on, what you can see. And then the last slide, just to remind you, we've done a small update to our user group. We meet regularly every second week. We have a user group that we run as Micro Focus. We've relaunched that a little bit under the name of SMAX User Group. It used to be called Practitioner Forum or Design Partnerships. This is now grouped together into a SMAX User Group. You see the tiny URL where you can look into and then see what's coming in the agendas, and feel free to request joining those. The registration link is on this page as well. That concludes my section with 3 minutes overtime. Back to you, Rolf.
Thank you, Philip. The video